Do you know this actor? I'm sure you do. This is Natalie Portman from the film Black Swan. So for her role in this movie, Portman trained with a choreographer for up to 8 hours a day, 6 days a week for over a year leading up to the film. So actors study their roles so they can become the person they're going to play, because they know that how they act and what they say influences what people believe. And being believable as a leader means we have to act like leaders. That means we have to study the role. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to study the role of leadership so we can step into that role. Let's look at 3 things that leaders don't do first. So first, leaders don't focus on their flaws, fears, and foibles. Women have a really bad habit of turning down their shine by drawing attention to things that don't really have anything to do with how powerful they really are. We say things like, I'm not good at math, or this skirt makes me look fat, or I got this on sale. You wouldn't talk to your best friend like that. So why are you talking to yourself like that? Why are you talking about yourself like that in front of other people? When we tell others what we think is wrong with ourselves, they can't help but see that too. We're creating their reality with our words. So we're actually responsible for that. Leaders don't focus on their flaws, their fears, and their foibles. That's number 1. The second thing leaders don't do is leaders don't shun their successes by deflecting compliments. And women struggle with this all the time. They struggle to express ownership and pride in the accomplishments they've made. They say, it's so hard for women to just say, thank you, or I'm proud of this. And instead, we try to downplay what we actually did. We say things like, oh, it was nothing, or anyone could have done it, right? And when we do that, it's like we're erasing ourselves out of history. So the third thing that leaders don't do is that they don't play the worker bee. So we hear this all the time, and I'm sure you're guilty of it. I've been guilty of it too, but now I have awareness around it. We say things like, oh, I'm so busy. I'm crazy busy, right? I'm sure you've heard this maybe several times today already, and maybe you've said it several times today. But the fact is, everyone is busy. Everyone is busy. And no one wants to hear how busy you are. And not only that, when you draw attention to how busy you are, this is what that actually communicates. It communicates, oh yes, I'm a mess. Because saying how busy you are says that you're disorganized, and it says you don't have clear goals, and it says you can't delegate, right? So in contrast, leaders direct attention to what really matters, right? So take a minute and think of some things that leaders direct attention to. And I want you to put it in the chat there. What do leaders draw attention to? I just want to see what's coming up. What do leaders draw attention to? Wins, opportunities, accomplishments, doing, strengths, results, outcomes, exactly, right? All of these things. Praise, the strength of others, exactly, right? The big picture, right. So leaders direct attention to what matters. So what matters then? Well, first of all, leaders direct attention to promoting themselves, right? Leaders self-promote. They say what they're good at. They brag a bit. And women have a track record of not doing this well. According to recent National Bureau of Economics research, women consistently rate their performance lower than men, even though both groups had the same average score on a test. Men, on average, gave themselves a 61 out of 100, and women only gave themselves 46 out of 100, even when they know a prospective employer will receive the scores. So we have to be aware of our tendency to rate our performance poorly. And we have to take steps to change this bad habit, right? So the second thing that leaders do is leaders celebrate their successes and the successes of their teams. And that's really important. This is about striking a balance between recognizing the we and the I in any accomplishment. So let me unpack what this means a bit. So women often use the word I in ways that can really undermine our leadership. In all cultures, in fact, women use the word I more than men do. And it's been shown that the overuse of I, the word I, can lower your status. So let me give you some examples here. Using I in a self-serving way. So saying things like, I deserve more, or I'm working so hard, or I completed this project by myself, will actually weaken your image. So what I want you to remember is that very little work is done alone, right? Even when I work with clients, I don't say, I did this for my client. I say, we did it because I couldn't have done it without them. So very little work is done alone. And it's really important to acknowledge the other people who were part of that success while including yourself in it as well. So we need to take ownership of our accomplishments while also acknowledging the success we've had with others. And when you're self-promoting, making sure that you strike that balance between we and I statements is really important, okay? So leaders self-promote and they celebrate their successes. And the third thing that leaders do is leaders build relationships. And this is in contrast to the worker bee style that I talked about before, where your head's always down and what needs to get done. Leaders have their heads up, not down. They engage in networking because they know business and success are built on relationships. Leaders don't hang out in the wings, leaders take the stage. And whether that means giving a presentation in a boardroom or on a Zoom call, how we act and what we say on that stage influences what roles we're chosen to play. So let's add one tool to your Language of Leadership toolkit tonight, and that is the elevator pitch. And I'm sure most of you know what an elevator pitch is. An elevator pitch, it helps you focus other people's attention on what matters about you. It's a promotional tool, it's a self-promotional tool, and it's really something that you want to memorize so you can use it anytime. And I'm going to give you a really simple formula for an elevator pitch, and I want you to write it down. Okay, so elevator pitch, 4 things: your name, your role, a success story, and then a statement of team pride. So in other words, it's not just about you, but it's about the team, right? Because that's what leadership is about. It's about raising everyone up. It's not just about me, 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 okay? So in a minute, I'm gonna ask for 1 or 2 volunteers to do their elevator pitches for me. But first, I'm gonna stop the presentation and give you my elevator pitch as an example. So let me stop the share. Okay, all right. So here's my elevator pitch. Remember, it's 4 things. And 1 second, I'm gonna do one thing. All right, so the elevator pitch is 4 things. It's your name, it's your role, it's a success story. And again, a story, let me clarify, a story can be 1 sentence. You know, it's not this long drawn out thing. Stories can get really long. It's not that. It's just a short sentence, and then it's just a statement of team pride. Okay, so here is my elevator pitch, and then we'll ask for a couple of people to do theirs for us. So I'm Rebecca Williams. I am a story coach for executives and founders. Last year, I worked with a visionary female tech founder to help her re-message her business for an investor pitch. And I'm proud that together we were able to get her $2 million in funding. So you see how I drew attention to my role as her guide by saying things like, I worked with her, we were able to help her, and I'm sharing pride about the service that I was able to provide. The outcome was her success. That's what I was working toward. So it's the client's success, it's the company's success, right? It's not about rah, rah, I'm so great. Okay, it's a little different there. So the elevator pitch, again, it's a simple formula for letting people know that you're amazing and that you have a lot to offer. So here's the formula again: name, role, success story, and team pride.